Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and the sports capital of the world. Well, today we have a special guest, someone who really is dedicated to the sport and gives so much of his time. He's so disciplined. He does so much. He blown me away with all he talks about boxing, what he's doing for the amateur boxing, and with the pros out too as well. So, none other than Jason Vincent. Welcome to the show, and our co-host again, Shelly Stevens. Okay, guys. Welcome to the show. Jason, it's a pleasure to have you on the show again because you always have good information about boxing, what you've been doing with the judging, with the refereeing, with promoting. Tell us a little bit about what you do with the WBF. That's why we have this championship belt here.
Well, I was with the WBF for about 4 years now. I started as a supervisor and a coordinator. I'd put the title fights together, and then I would go wherever the fights were at, and I would supervise the weigh-ins and also the title fight itself. So I was with them for about 2 or 3 years, and they liked me so much. I guess they liked my work and my dedication, and I guess my sparkling personality. It's just teasing. And they made me the vice president of the Americas for the WBF. So that was a great honor and a privilege. I did that for about a year and a half, and then I kind of stepped away from the WBF because there's other things I wanted to do in the boxing business, the fight game, as far as managing and matchmaking and different things like that. So I still help the guys out. I'm not officially with them per se, on their board of directors or on their website or anything, but as a matchmaker and stuff like that, I make so many matches around the country that there's always an opportunity for 1 or 2 title fights on pretty much any event in America or across the world. So when that opportunity arises, if there's a fight worthy of a bout worthy of a title fight, I'm very good friends with Mick Croucher, the president of the WBF, and I'll pass that information along to him, and they'll package it together, put a sanction agreement together, and make a title fight. And then we have a supervisor here locally, Derek Ruiz, who you've met before. He will go out and supervise the fights.
Great. So now you've been in boxing for how many years now?
I've been competing in judo, jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, and taekwondo for 21 years. And then I've been started training boxing full-time probably for 16 or 17 years. I became a coach about 12 years ago with USA Boxing, an official coach, where I took the online test and did all the background checks and everything that they required to become a USA Boxing coach. I fought as an amateur in USA Boxing, 7 years ago? I was 45. I'm 52 now, so my last fight was 7 years ago. And then I became an official about 10 years ago with USA Boxing, and went down there for the training. It was at the Roy Jones tournament here in town. Long story short, they had a free clinic for officials. My buddy convinced me to go down there, Julio Rosario. I was like, I don't want to be an official. Let's just go learn the rules. And we did the seminar. It was really interesting. Everybody was real friendly. Passed the test, and they said, "You got a white T-shirt?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "Put it on and go to the inspection table," and I started my career then.
So how did you really start getting into boxing? What made you decide to go into boxing?
Well, I've been a boxing fan since the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, really in the 80s. Kind of that Larry Holmes era. My favorite all-time fighter is Boom Boom Mancini, little Italian guy, gritty Italian guy that marches forward. All the four kings, Hangler, Hurd, Marvin Hagler, Ray Leonard, Duran, all those guys. So we always were a big boxing family, and then kind of got out of it for a while. Went in the military, came back out, was kind of into bodybuilding and all that. And then when I was 30 years old, I started taking mixed martial arts, and one thing led to another, and met a boxing coach, and kind of fell back in love with the sport again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's good that you got into boxing, at a young age. And you've been doing it for so many years now. What do you see? How do you see boxing today compared to the way it was when you first started watching it in the 70s and 80s?
Well, man, it's light years away. You know that. You were part of that group back in those days. And, I think like anything in society, we always yearn for, I always taught my daughter, hey, man, I wish I was born in the 1980s, Dad, and grew up in the 80s like you. And, I guess I'm turning into that old guy, like, back in my day, The 80s for me in the early 90s, the mid 90s were the peak, the pinnacle for boxing, and like anything, business, boxing, football, baseball, basketball, you got ebbs and flows and all that. But I do miss those days back then, but it's different now. Boxing's still good. It's still thriving. You go to any local event, there's 25 bouts every local event we have here, and we have 2 or 3 a month. You go to these national tournaments, they have 4 or 5 rings full of competitors, 1,000 kids competing. Even in the master boxing division with Manny Fernandez, it's 35 years and over, and you got people in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Manny's getting ready to have one the end of February here in town. He has 2 rings and he has 300 competitors. So boxing's alive.
Yeah.
Now it's a different generation nowadays with all these YouTubers and streamers and the Jake Pauls. And I just did an event in Miami with Aiden Ross. I didn't know who he was, but my 22-year-old son knew who he was. And he's some streamer and video game player that has millions of viewers. And we had, he gets these YouTubers or streamers with hundreds of thousands of followers each boxing each other. So he pulls all of this audience in, and then they're amateur exhibition bouts, and then he'll have kind of 3 or 4 real professional bouts. And we just did a WBF title fight down there for some high-level boxers.
Wow. So what do you think about this upcoming fight, the big one tomorrow night?
I've been so busy moving around and stuff. I'm kind of forgot about it, but then I saw the weigh-ins and I saw the face-off on Facebook the other day, and Shakur and Lopez were looking at each other, and then they're like, okay, face forward. And Lopez kept looking at him, and Shakur faced forward, and Lopez never turned. And then Shakur kind of gave him a shoulder bump and walked off. But man, I'm excited. But that's what we want, Joe. We want these top guys fighting each other and not worrying about. Obviously, you want to win. You're there to win, but not put some risk. I notice being a matchmaker at the lower level, a lot of these kids don't want to take risks. Everybody, hey, give me a fight, and I'll offer them 2 or 3 fights. Well, no, I can't do that. Well, no, no one wants to take a risk anymore. I love it when these 2 guys like this at this level are, obviously they're getting paid, but they're taking a risk.
I remember when Cortez Stevenson was about 10 years old, I started a boxing program in New Jersey called Aspira Club, and we didn't have no boxing. I started a program for them with a fellow by the name of Robinson Bellis, who was a trainer, and we started a program there, and he was a 10-year-old kid who was in that program. He started out working out there, and look at him where he's at today. He's undefeated, and got making in $20, $30 million a fight.
I like Shakur Stevens a lot. I'll be honest, I'll be the first to tell you that I didn't know him, and when he first kind of came on the scene, I was like, his style wasn't really flashy, or sometimes he didn't go for the knockout, or he played it a little too safe. But I remember referee practice at Top Rank Boxing when I was trying to be a professional referee back in the day, and he would come in, him and his grandpa, and they had ping pong tables at Top Rank Boxing and everything, and him and his grandpa would be playing ping pong. But long story short, he would come in and he would go to everybody in the gym and shake their hand and look them in the eye and greet them. And he had already won world titles at 1 or 2 different ways. It wasn't like a young Shakur. And I said, you know what? I'm going to root for that guy. That shows me a lot of character and charisma, and he's humble, and he's not big-headed. Same thing with Teofimo. He puts a show on, but he's been to a lot of our amateur events out there, too. So same thing. A lot of it's for show, behind the scenes. Like the bout I just did the other day, they're pushing each other on the way in, and then we're going back in the locker room like, oh, man, that was a good push, man. And, so they're building the fight and stuff like that.
It's a good promotional dude. That's why I don't pay too much attention to all this pushing, except there was times, a couple of times you see when Tyson got involved with Lennox Lewis.
He took a swing.
I mean, it was
big
really
swinger.
It was really
sometimes it's real. You see,
sometimes you got to be careful. If the matchmaker or the commission is there, they got to keep these fighters away from each other, because you don't want nobody getting cut.
Wasn't one of them like Riddick Bowe landed a couple of combinations on some guy at the press conference of the way?
And then the guy gets cut, you got to cancel the show because something stupid.
You might get suspended indefinitely as a fighter. These commissions, these guys got a lot of money invested into this match. So you hurt someone before you walk between the ropes and put the gloves on, and everybody's getting a return on their investment. You hurt them, they can suspend you indefinitely. You ain't fighting until you pay them back some money.
Well, it happened here many times in Las Vegas. They're a pretty strong commission. They don't play games, and neither and Larry has it with the commission in New Jersey. They don't play. Don't mess around with these guys. They're quick to fine you, suspend you for a while. I mean, Tyson got fined like it was, I think, $3 million when he bit Evander Holyfield's ear.
Yeah.
You know, and Zab Judah got fined, I think, with $500,000.
Joe, even at the club level or mid level, I got kids that sign contracts and don't get on the airplane. Or 2 days before, oh, I heard, this or that, or I want more money, this and that, and then they don't show up.
Oh.
And some promoters will let them slide, but what I like lately is these promoters and matchmakers aren't letting them slide.
Yeah.
They slap an indefinite suspension through that local state commission there, and that kid can't fight anywhere till he gets a hold of that promoter or matchmaker, and they work out some kind of compensation, get him that money in return, and then he will get a hold of the commission to lift that indefinite suspension.
I know one time
it's unfortunate.
One time I was fighting up in Boston as a professional. It was a 6-rounder, and when I got to Boston, I was with Gaspar Ortega. Gaspar Ortega was a top welterweight contender, and my opponent, I did not know until I got there who was my opponent, a guy named Richie Gonzalez. I beat Richie Gonzalez 2 or 3 years before in the amateurs at AAU tournament, and in the intercity championship fight, and I beat him, New York versus New Jersey. I beat him, but I didn't know until I got there. So I was the same guy for about 2 or 3 years ago in the amateurs. And he saw me, and he was a little nervous. That night, Freddie Brown, who was Roberto Duran's trainer, was my trainer. He had Gaspar Ortega as well, way before Roberto Duran. And he had me all wrapped up, my cups, trunks, everything put on. We're waiting. I was supposed to go out the first fight. Richie Gonzalez was not there. We waited for him all night long. The guy never showed up.
Yep.
Now, when I got inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame back in the late 90s, I went to an event, a Hall of Fame. Benji Stebbins was getting inducted in New Jersey Hall of Fame. I went there to support Benji Stebbins. And when I got there, he said, Joe, the guy got Richie Gonzalez sitting at that table. He said that you fought him once in the amateur. I said, where is he? I fought him in the amateur. I said, we put fight.
What happened that night? Where'd you go, dude?
So I went up to him at the table. I said, Richie Gonzalez, how you doing, buddy? And listen, what happened to you that night in Boston? You and I were supposed to fight. And what happened? You never showed up. Oh, I said, we got lost. We couldn't find the arena. But he found the arena that morning for the weigh-in, right?
Yeah.
But when he saw me, he backed out. He chickened out.
Chickened out, yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, it happens.
I said, okay, that's all I want to know, and I walked away. But I mean, some things that happen in boxing, crazy things happen in boxing. You never know what can happen. The guy can push you, the guy can bite you, the guy can do a lot of things. But when they don't show up, that's the worst thing. But you say, am I going to get paid for? I didn't fight. I didn't get paid.
Am I getting paid? I trained. I got cut men and trainers. I got to give money to.
They gave me something, but not enough to cover the expenses, but not for the fight itself.
I've been in amateur boxing, like I said, for about 15, 16 years, and then the professional ranks going on 4 or 5 years. And just in my short period of time, I've seen some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm giving 8 counts to kids in the ring, and they're throwing up on me, or different things in boxing. I could imagine in your long career, amateur, professional boxer, and professional referee, you've seen.
Well, I saw one day, I seen 2 things I could talk to you real quick about. One was a fighter was beating his opponent, had him in a corner, but his mother, the kid that was in the corner was getting hurt, and his mother was at ringside. When she climbed into the ring, she took her shoe off with the heel of her shoe, and she was hitting the fighter. I know you saw that on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can watch it on YouTube, fighter. Put it on YouTube, you guys out there watching. Put YouTube for mother hits fighter with shoe. And she hit him on back of the head, and the guy got cut at the top of the head.
Oh.
Then it ended up stopping the fight, And I don't know how it ended up. I forgot how it ended up, but crazy stuff like that.
We had at an amateur event, it was years ago, I can't remember where we were at, but it was it was a regular ring, but didn't stand up, 4 or 5 feet off the ground. It was one of those kind of floor rings. And there was some little girl walking around. 2, 3, 4 years old, and she slid underneath the ropes while I fight. I might have been the Masters event. She slid underneath the ropes, and the referee, as he's rolling around, he didn't see her, and the fighter almost saw her. He looked over the referee, and he scooped her up and handed her dad or grandma was like, hey, and handed her over the ropes and continued to referee. She would have got wiped out, man. It was 2 big dudes, too. She would have got wiped out.
One crazy thing that happened to me that nobody would ever believe. I mean, this one in maybe 100 million years. It never happened. I went to do a fight in the Bahamas. It was an NBA title fight. And when I got there, they already had fought a couple of preliminary fights, but I went to check the ring out. I said, wait a minute, the ring.
I remember the story.
I said, I went there. Hey, wait a minute, there's no padding on this canvas. There's canvas, but no padding underneath it. And I said, I called the promoter. I said, these fighters can't fight without a padding in the ring.
Just
And
wood. Wood, yeah.
Only wood. I mean, the guy get hit, they go down. I can't let them fight like that. And I had to do 2 title fights that night. And they said, well, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know, but the fight cannot go. The place was already packed, a couple of thousand people in there. I said, there's no fight until something gets done with this ring. You know what the promoter, he lived not too far from the arena. He took a couple of guys that work in the stadium. He took them to his house. They cut the carpet out from his living room, the carpet out, and they brought that. They took off the canvas, put the carpet in there, they put the canvas on top. I walked down there. I said, okay, now we can fight. But it took about 2 hours to all that to happen.
Oh, man.
I mean, crazy stuff.
That's probably the craziest story I've ever. That's got to be the craziest story.
Another crazy story was I was refereeing a fight in Germany. A fighter got hit with a punch, and his mouthpiece got dislodged, went in that direction. So I called time, and I want to get the mouthpiece. We're looking for the mouthpiece. We're looking for it. Nobody could find the mouthpiece. What you mean you can't find the mouthpiece? It went in that direction. And Larry had his son, who was a judge. He was sitting there in the same direction where the mouthpiece went. And we say, wait, and somebody said, Tom, look at his pocket and his jacket. He had a tuxedo on. He looked, and the mouthpiece was in his pocket. I mean, that's the craziest thing. And Larry has it to this day.
Good catch. Yeah, good catch with your...
and put it right in his pocket.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
That's crazy.
And at the time, it was no rules that you have to have 2 mouthpieces, only one mouthpiece. It was it. Nobody came find another mouthpiece, came do something before. Can't let him fight without the mouthpiece. And so we don't have a mouthpiece. There was something it took us 10 minutes to find our mouthpiece.
Oh, my God. Well, who would ever thought it would went in someone's pocket like that, and the pocket was open enough, wide enough, and it freaking flew. And he didn't see it.
And it had to be one of our judges who was sitting there. And he was the judge for the fight. The pocket. Mouthpiece was right in his pocket.
Oh,
unbelievable,
man.
sir.
Yeah, lucky catch there. Yeah, lucky catch
He
there.
would be better than Willie Mays.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God, boxing is so exciting to me now. You have no clue how much I love boxing.
I want to see what
now.
the future, my journey takes me, all these stories that you have that I've had so far. And, I want to do another 10, 15, 20 years in this business and see where, all these other stories and, memories I'm going to make.
Boxing was so good. I started when I was 15 years old. I got introduced to boxing when I was 12 by Gaspar Ortega. And Gaspar Ortega was a top-notch welterweight. Gaspar had 176 professional fights. And he only got stopped twice. One was with Emil Griffith for the welterweight title. He lost on a TKO. He lost one to Sandro Mancini in Italy, also TKO. You got the in-between round to stop it in the quarter. That's the only 2 times Gaspar was stopped. He never became world champion, but he fought Benikid Perret. Benikid Perret was a fighter, was a good top fighter, became a world champion, and Gaspar beat him in a 10-round non-title fight. But the title was not on the line.
Yeah,
Gaspar beat him.
Yeah.
But so that was good old days. Gaspar Ortega, got me started with boxing, but that's when I started. He introduced me to it, but I didn't start until I was about 15 years old.
Yeah.
My brother Mike was already boxing. Then we joined the Golden Gloves, and the history behind that. And I ended up winning 6 Golden Glove championships, including the Nationals.
Boxing's a great sport. It's a beautiful sport.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect sport. It's still an evolving sport now with all the different technology and media and different things that go into it. And very grateful that I'm a part of the sport and the amateurs and the professional ranks. And I do want to say while I'm here, I've lost count how many times I've been on the show the last 7 years. I think when we met 6 or 7 years ago, and it's probably close to 15 times. And you've always been in my corner, always advised me, always shared your wisdom and knowledge and experience with me, guided me, fostered me, let me progress. And I always want to say my gratitude to you, and I'm very grateful for the time that you've spent with me and the opportunities and the platform you've always given me.
I don't think it's the end of the story yet. I think we still got a little ways to go. Because I'd like to see you be the commissioner here one day in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We got a good commissioner there now, Director Jeff Mullins, good guy. And we'd like to see you get more involved in the future so you can either be an assistant to Jeff Mullins, or when he retires, then you can take over and become a commissioner.
That's something that would be an honor, and something that's in the back of my mind if I ever develop into that spot and all that. But that's why I haven't just stuck to coaching or managing. That's why I've kind of spread across the board in boxing to become almost like a general contractor in construction terms. Not just a carpenter, not just an electrician, nothing wrong with that. Not just a painter or drywaller. I want to learn a little bit of everything. That way, when I get to the top, I have a base knowledge of everything. But real quick, before I forget, events coming up, and I told you I had a surprise for you. So I just got off the phone. They've been talking about it for a while, but I just got off the phone with GBH Promotions down in the Cayman Islands, and they're planning their event now for October down in the Cayman Islands. We'll probably start matchmaking in August. I'll be back down there, and they want Joe Cortez to come back down.
Okay.
October, Cayman Islands.
That'd be great.
Just like we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were good. We was there with Roy Jones Jr. was there. Yeah.
So Roy will come back this year. One of the guys is working with Amir Khan. So we're going to try to get maybe Michael Dos Marinas or one of our guys here with Knucklehead Jim and Manny Pacquiao Promotion, Sean Gibbons. Maybe we can get one of those guys down there, hopefully Michael, and then maybe 2 of Roy's guys, and then 1 or 2 of Amir Khan's guys from England.
And there's so many fighters that are making comebacks, you know? I mean Jake Paul draw these guys in making $10, $20 million. You know, I'm in shape right now. I'm 154 pounds out there. I'm ready to go right now.
You had Joe Casamayor on your show a month or 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And did he ever get down to your restaurant?
Yes,
yeah,
he
did he? Yeah, I bet you he tore that place up.
Oh, yes, he did.
I bet you he tore that place up, man. But even him, he sees the money. I'm like, Coach, can you make 126? He goes, not 126 no more, but maybe 130, 135. Yeah. He goes, tell Sean Gibbons I want another. Give me a fight.
You know, we have a couple of pictures there that I had somebody at the Hall of Fame. It was Manny Pacquiao. He got inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame this past year up in Canastota, New York. He's inducted in 2025. Then we got another picture there of me with Boxing in Your Face. Another program that I had, Boxing in Your Face, by one of my talk shows, which is something I may bring back on again.
I like that. I got to get that T-shirt.
Boxing in Your Face, yeah. I like that. That's in my gym at the house. We have anything else? We got Tito
Ortiz.
Tito Trinidad.
Yeah, or Tito Trinidad.
Yeah,
Tito,
he was at the Hall of Fame this past year up in Canastota, New York.
He was at the WBA convention with me 2 years ago in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, nice guy. And that was
speaking of Manny Pacquiao, he'll be having Manny Pacquiao Promotions MP Promotions has been around for a while in the Philippines and all that. They had their first show a couple months ago at the Pachanga Casino down in Southern California, and they're getting ready to have their second MP promotion card February 28th, and I believe upstate New York, I believe. Right. And Jamil Pacquiao will be making his second pro fight on that, and then they have an eliminator on that, and then one of our local phenoms and all-stars and prodigies, Cormel Moulton, will be, he had over 200 amateur fights, I believe, and he's 8-0 as a pro or whatever. He'll be on that card.
Okay, now you said Pacquiao, explain to the viewers, Jamel Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao's son. Right.
Son. He's his son, and he made his pro debut, I believe it was in November, in Temecula, San Diego, California, at the Pachanga. So this will be, it was a draw. And then he'll be doing his second fight in New York. I refereed him in the amateurs. And the guy that he's fought in the amateurs there, Marco Rosales, I got him his pro debut February 27th, Friday, San Diego at SeaWorld. They're having fights at SeaWorld. So I got Marco Rosales. Congratulations. I think he had about 15 amateur fights, local guy here, and I'm getting him his pro debut in San Diego SeaWorld.
Nice.
Yeah, end of February. Yeah.
You know, it's so nice to see all these young fighters coming up, you know. It's a good way to make money now. They're making really good money compared to what the fighters back in the 50s and 60s. They were making no money. Even when Muhammad Ali would be one of the greatest, he only made a couple of $1 million a fight when he was fighting back in those days. Nothing like $100 million, $50 million.
$50 million, like Crawford, Canelo, or that's or more.
Times have really changed. I mean, the money out there today. That's why I want to make a comeback. I will still see if the right one to get you, the left one will.
Who could we match you up with, man? I think you probably make $1 million. We match you up with someone.
You got anybody out there watching? You know, I still got a little spark of the old flesh. Like I said, the right one to get you, the left one will. We have you put up the money, you see how fast we come back.
Right.
I mean, these fighters today making the money is unbelievable.
It's a different era, different age than it was even 10 or 15 years ago. You know, boxing 15 years ago, to now is completely different.
You know, MMA was just barely starting out 15 years ago. And I remember they called me from the, what's the name, McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor
yeah.
was fighting Floyd Mayweather, and I got a phone call. They said, "Joe, I'm a manager for Conor McGregor, and he wants you to train him for the fight he's having against Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
Train him. I'm not a trainer." They said, "No, he wants to know about the rules of boxing. They don't know the rules of boxing. When he's sparring in the gym, can you be in there with him sparring and those rounds? You just move around as a referee, and you make any corrections. If you make a mistake, you correct him right on the spot." I said, "Okay." So I had him for 5 weeks. I trained Conor McGregor. He made $100 million fighting Mayweather that night.
That was it, man.
Unbelievable.
Lifetime money, generational money for him, his kids, his grandkids, everybody out one fight.
I mean, but that's why boxing today is so exciting. Jake Paul offers Mike Tyson $10 million, $20 million, whatever it was, and these guys fight.
Anthony Joshua, you know, everybody laughed at Jake Paul. Well, Anthony Joshua just hit the lotto. He retired. Jake Paul breaks his jaw, but walks out with $50 million or whatever. I'll break my jaw. I'll have you break my jaw for $50 million. Go
Absolutely.
ahead. Everybody, this, that. I go, the guy's laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah.
Oh my
I love to see these fighters. They should have a manager and a financial advisor, somebody to show them how to invest our money. Today, so when you wait out 10, 20 years on the line, you live a good life with money in the bank. So some of these fighters, they make all that money and they're broke today.
They blow it. Yeah.
They blow it away. They did all these fancy cars, all these big houses and everything. Something that they don't really need, but they feel, I don't have all the money in the world, I can do it. They don't save that money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to this fight tomorrow because between Joe and my husband, who's like, oh my God, big boxing fan, and so we will watch like all the stories that comes on YouTube about the boxers and what they've done before, and he's explaining everything to me, and he told me how Teofimo and Shakur, they used to be friends because they came up together in training and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's a shame. They have to fight each other. And I'm like, he's like, that's the game. That's
There's
boxing.
millions of dollars on the line. They go they hug afterwards and go have a beer afterwards.
And it's like a game, even though you don't play boxing, but it's like a game.
Yeah.
You're in there, you compete with one another, but you see those baseball, football, hockey, they win, they lose, and they hug, they embrace each other.
Yeah, they're very respectful.
A lot of these guys could have fought 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago when they first became pros, but they said, no, let's all build up, let it marinate on the stove, and we'll fight each other when there's some big money on the line to take care of your family and my family.
Exactly.
And then, like you said, afterwards they hug, they go have a beer, their families get together, whatever. You know, majority of the time it's like that. So, do you guys ever get the fights down at the bar? Did they ever put the fights on down there?
Yeah.
No? Oh, they do? Are they gonna have the fights tomorrow? Or?
I have no idea, but we will ask her tonight.
I don't know if have tomorrow night. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I may not show up tomorrow night, because
you're gonna go.
I'm going to probably watch it on TV. It's a good fight. I know all four fighters, and it's going to be a good fight.
This is these are fights that you want to watch. These are fights you want to watch.
You got Ryan Garcia. He's fighting
Barrios, right?
Yeah. Miguel Barrios, I think it is.
Mario Barrios, who just fought Manny Pacquiao. The last fight was Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people thought that Manny Pacquiao won the fight, and they gave it to Barrios.
No, Mario trains here a lot. He's from San Antonio, I believe, but he trains out with Coach Rich at Pound for Pound Boxing here in Las Vegas. He did his last few training camps.
Well, he's about 41 years old, is it not?
Barrios?
Yeah.
No, he's younger. He's younger than that. I'd say late 20s, early 30s, maybe.
Oh,
yeah. I have to pull up his box right now. Yeah, he's not in his 40s.
Okay, anyway.
Manny's in his 40s. Manny's in his 40s.
Manny Pacquiao goes down in history, one of the greatest of all times.
Well, did you hear, real quick, I know we're getting ready to go, but Devin Haney, it just came out, Devin Haney on Twitter hit up Sean Gibbons and said, Sean, get a hold of my dad, Bill. I guess maybe Manny Pacquiao and Devin Haney. Yeah. That's what's the latest scuttlebutt.
Well, Devin Haney, I met him when he was 10 years old as well. I met him up in Mesquite.
Junior National Golden Gloves.
In National AAU Golden Glove Championship. He was 10 years old, and I told him, hey, kid, come here. You want this fight, you look good. Who's your trainer? My dad. Bring him over. He brought his father over. I met him. I said, this kid's championship material. He was 10 years old. When he was 20, he was WBC champion, lightweight champion of the world. Anyway, good talking about boxing today, fans out there. We want to let you know that The Joe Cortez Show is here to just share some knowledge and wisdom about things in life. And today we're talking about boxing in general with Jason Vincent, my co-host Shelly Stevens.
And we'll see you tonight.
We'll see you tonight at Lola's. You're performing at Lola's.
That's right, yes. Oh, my husband's going to pick your brain. So
I'm going to bring this bell too and take some pictures of you.
Yeah, it would be great. We're going to have such a great time.
Friday, Saturday, 6 to 10.
Yes,
Gotcha.
we'll see you there, all of us, tonight.
You take care. Keep your guards up at all time. I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up. See you next week.
Woo!